Question number 4, Dr. David Clark.
Mr. Speaker, my question to the Minister is, does the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment's expenditure of $140,747.66 on a public information screen show it is achieving one of its principal goals of realising efficiency gains over time?
Minister for Economic Development, the Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, I'm disappointed with both the cost of the public information screen and the outside sign, and as I've said publicly, I've spoken to the Chief Executive of MB and made clear my disappointment. He's accepted that those two items in their relocation should have cost less, and in future large building projects will have additional oversight. It's important that these two items are seen in the context of savings of $40 million over 20 years by being located in a single head office, which comes from a 31% reduction in office space. It's also important to note the overall cost of that development came in $2 million under budget.
Supplementary.
Order.
Does spending...
Dr. David Clark, supplementary question.
Does spending $74,000 on a reception desk show good judgment?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, well, the member could run through a number of things that he and I could both have an opinion on, but actually, overall, the project has saved very significant sums of money for taxpayers, $40 million over 20 years, and it also came in under budget.
A point of order.
Point of order, Dr. David Clark.
Mr. Speaker, that was a very direct and straightforward question, and I wasn't
Order.
answered or addressed.
In my opinion, listening carefully to the answer, from what I could hear, it was addressed. It would help if the member could ask his own colleagues to be a little quieter, and then he might well have heard the answer more clearly as well. Does the member have a further
I did hear the answer.
Then
sir.
he'll agree that it was addressed. Supplementary question, Dr. David Clark.
Supplementary question. Can he confirm that his name appears on the ministerial plaque described in the release documents as requiring an additional $1,696 spending variation in the contract? And if so, is he the minister responsible to this House for the expenditure referred to in my questions today?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr. Speaker, it could be helpful to the member to point out that he's failing to make the distinction between policy-related issues, which is right and proper that the minister gets involved in, and operational issues that are the responsibility of the Chief Executive. And, Mr. Speaker, we've seen examples in this House of members failing to observe the differences that are appropriate and what could be known as the Trevor Mallard-Aaron Lee effect.
Order.
If ministers start trying to run the departments for the chief executives, that generally doesn't work out well.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Dr. David
An
Clark.
epitaph, not a plaque. Does spending taxpayer money on the installation of hair straighteners show good judgment? And if so, not for your eye, and if so, is the Ford rental contract flexible enough to allow the government installation of hair curlers as and when Wellington's fashions change?
In as far as there's a ministerial responsibility in this particular case, the Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, I would suggest to the member in the case of both he and I, hair straighteners are no use whether paid for by anybody, frankly.
Question number 5, John O'Naylor.